Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Johnny Prime here. Weekly maintenance on the bike. Nuts and bolts check, pressure check. So what I have here is my bike pump for the tires. I've got my torque wrenches. I've got the sockets for both the 19 mil and 21 mil sockets. That'll get deep down into there and into there. And I've also got 5 and 6 millimeter hex Allen keys so that I can adjust some other little things on the bike. So first thing I'm going to do is I noticed a little squeak in my brake, so I'm going to try to adjust that out. Basically, we loosen these two nuts so that this brake assembly is a little bit loose. Then we squeeze the rear brake at the grips, and then we retighten these bolts so that what we're doing is realigning the brake assembly on the rotor and recentering it. So when I do this, I like to sit on the bike, stand it up, and then I reach back, loosen that one, loosen this one. This is your 5 millimeter hex Allen. See how that's a little loose now? And then I squeeze the pad. And then while it's squeezed, you just retighten them and do them a little at a time. Torque them down. And that should be it. Yeah, no more squeak. Now the other thing I'm going to do while I'm back here is tighten the chain. There's a little bit of slack in it. I like my chain tight. And since I don't have tensioners back here, what I do is I find something that fits snug right in that space between the wheel and the kickstand. And for me, it's this weird metal bowl. It just fits perfectly. It's the right size. I don't know, maybe there's something like that in your household. You could use a tennis ball, that's fine too, because the pressure inside the ball will push the tire back. But in order to do that, we have to loosen the nuts on the axles, which are down in the pegs, and then wedge the spacer in between there, in between the wheel and the kickstand, and that'll make the chain tight. And then once the chain is tight, we retighten the nuts down in the axle. It ain't the most scientific, but it works. The nice thing about these torque wrenches is you get the exact torque that you need every time, so you don't strip your bolts. Here we go, chain's nice and tight now. Another thing I like to do a little bit less frequently is clean and re-grease the chain. I probably do that once every month or two, and I just recently did it, otherwise I'd do it right now for you. But when I do it again, I will take some video of it so you see how easy it is. I basically use canned air to blow out all the shit, and then I wipe it down, and then I use WD-40 to clear out any excess, and I rotate it a bunch of times, get all the shit out, and then I put some grease on the chain and rotate it. And that's pretty much it. It's a messy operation because of all the shit that spits off when you use the WD-40. But yeah, so I like to do it outside. But that's basically the gist of it, and when I do it, I'll make sure to take some video and show you. So now we're gonna make sure the headset and stem are all nice and tight. Sometimes these things can loosen up just from regular use. So I've got my 6 millimeter, and I'm just gonna make sure it's tight. Yeah, do these diagonally from each other. These are all pretty good, not too much. I recently adjusted my handlebars, so usually when you do that and then you come back to it like a week later or a few days later, you can feel some play in there, because you know, this little textured area where you mount the bars, that can crunch down and tighten over time. Let me check this one too. This is the 5 mil. That one's good. Put that back on. Okay, so now I'm going to check my front. Make sure these are tight. Switching over to the 15. I think I might have said 19 before. The front's 15. Switch these to tight. These were good. They weren't loose at all. Okay, so now I'm going to check my tire pressure. And since my tubes have slime in them, what I like to do is rotate the tire so that the valve is up a little bit, because slime stays as a fluid, and when it's in the tire, it settles down to the bottom when you're not riding. So just to let that get down to the bottom is a good idea. That way you don't have any fluid in the valve area when you try to put air in. So a lot of people have, you know, different tubes, different tires, and they call for different values of PSI. Some people are riding as low as 30, get a nice cushy comfortable ride, and some people like me are riding as high as 50 to avoid pinch flats, and maybe you get a little bit more speed sometimes. Now I haven't checked my tire in a week or two, and right now it's at, it looks like 43. And I know this is a step one, but I always just use my hands. Now I like to bring up to at least 45, sometimes 50. Yeah, that's 50. And now I'll do the same thing in back. Yeah, same, 43. At least my tires are losing pressure at the same rate. And I'm very happy, because about 2 weeks ago I ran over a pin. It was sticking into the tire, in the front tire, and I didn't lose any pressure, so I know my system is working. It's 50. Always a good idea to also check your battery to make sure it's in properly and snug. Like I said in a previous video, if you know it's in there right, you don't need to take it off. If you just leave it in there after you know that it's in there properly, then you're all good. But if you take it on and off, you know, it's a good idea to keep checking. So that about does it for the basics of adjusting and maintaining. Nuts and bolts check. If you also would like, you could check your pedals and your cranks on a more regular basis. I know mine are pretty nice right now, so I don't need to. And that's about it. Ready to rock. What's Rich up to now?